Your excuse too long for a superior. I will undertake. I think this is a crucial time for Tesseract, if I'm being very honest. The last album didn't turn out the way we wanted it to turn out. I feel like the songs that we wrote would have had even more impact if we as a band would have had more time to really nail the sound of that album. And so I think that's always been in the back of my mind, is that the next record has to be a statement.
We really needed somewhere where the band could perform as a band. We've always wanted to capture some of the messing around that we do live, say in Soundcheck, where instead of just meticulously going over things, there's an energy where you just let go.
So this is the first time we've recorded as a real band, like since the first album, I think, which was 12 years ago. And so we've actually done it properly this time, whereas in the past it's always just been me programming the drums at my place. Usually just down to like time and budget has always been an issue, but this time we've done it properly.
We've always wanted, ever since the first album, we've always wanted real drums on the record, and I think for Jay as well, on the fifth album, I think it just felt right.
Which note are you hearing? The transient, like the ring?
The learning was the biggest part of this for me, without a doubt. Generally, my learning process is listen and listen and listen and listen. And then I rely on ability for a lot of it, which I think we all do in Tesseract to a degree. We are confident enough in our own abilities and we know the song, so we can play it. Or at least that's how I feel most of the time. And for this one, that wasn't going to cut it at all. You can't go into a studio just trusting that. So I've had to zoom in to specific sections of songs, learn it a couple of bars at a time, really slowly, just to get that detail in, because it's just too difficult.
Damn it.
Sorry to stop you. Can you just really get fight? Because it's sounding a little bit like fart. Will you fight? Fight and stay? Yeah.
I would normally focus on the accuracy of the vocals that I'm recording. I'm very particular when it comes to rhythm and pitch on record. One thing that my producers are really keen on is the flow and the emotional connection. So it's not always about even pitch for the producers, it's about how it makes you feel when you listen to it, which I totally get. And sometimes I feel like I do perhaps miss those opportunities when I'm recording myself, because I'm so micro-focused on the detail of trying to get the quality and not really always focused on getting the emotion. I feel like we've struck a really nice balance between us now, where we're actually not only getting quality good takes, but we're finding little bits here and there that have great quality, some beautiful nuances and lots of emotion.
There's so many branches to Tesseract. You've got Ackle very much, in creating, he creates everything musically, but he's very much needing to be focused on, the guitars. And then you've got Pete working closely with Jay on the drums and with Moss on the bass. And he was like, it would be really great if Dan had someone to work with whilst that stuff's happening. And he spoke to me about doing it, and I said, yeah, that sounds great. I love Tesseract. That would be really cool. And then I think he sent them my album, and on hearing that, they liked it. They liked what I'd done. They liked how me and Pete worked together. And then they were interested in meeting me to talk about, whether I would be involved in the record.
It's great to work with Kat as a vocal engineer, because it's freeing me up from being in front of the door and the computer that I'm working on, so that I can just concentrate on getting the absolute best takes that I can possibly get. I can genuinely say that I probably wouldn't have gotten the quality of takes and pushed myself to the limits that I have done by myself.
I think the reason this has worked so well is because I love the music so much, and we get along really well. I don't know if I could do this for many other bands. I feel like this might be a one-off. The combination of the concept, the music, the guys, and the way that me and Dan work has made this pretty perfect. And I think this might be the only time I do it. But if that's true, then it's been amazing, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
I was wrong, and I'm ashamed. A questing of fate had scuttled in and poisoned me. The life I choose, it cost me dear. I'm imprisoned by the truth. Confronting seems the only way to lose.
because I started off tracking guitars in the main room, Studio A, with the intention of using real amps. Like we tried out some Diesels, Marshalls, Messrs. They sound nice, but I'm just so used to using Axe-FXs and Quad Cortexes and things. I couldn't even pick between which one of these to use. Like on the previous album, it was Kemper, Polaris, and Altered State was Axe-FX 1, but most of the tones have been, for rhythm tone, has been Axe-FX 2, layered with Kemper presets, and then a lot of the clean and lead stuff is Quad Cortex, so it's been a mix of everything really. Although we did profile the Diesel into the Cortex. I've been using that for a few lead sounds, so it's a mush of everything digital, not a single analog amp in there. That's right.
This setup is not where Tesseract has performed before. It's not our comfort zone, and I think that's part of Peter Miles. His approach was to get us to step out of our comfort zone. Tesseract to meet in the middle between, say, Akel's incredible vision and what he does when he's producing in isolation, and what we can do live as a group together, where we're, like I say, not even verbally communicating. You almost give each other a nod and say, we're going to go there, we're going to go to this place, and it's a cool thing, and I really hope it comes across on the album as being different, because chances are it is a change for Tesseract.
Work was done. Evidence that work was done.
Yeah.
So 0, 3, 3, 1, 4, 3. What shocked me is how good it sounded almost immediately stepping out of the recording environment in there. So from tracking, going from that room and then coming in here, oh shit, that sounds amazing. And some of it is big speakers but some of it is, we paid a lot of attention to, we spent a week exploring sounds which we haven't done before, and that process was great. Which kick drum is going to work, which kick drum skin is going to work, which cymbals are going to work, which microphones are going to work, let's just move the microphone. Like, so much of that, which enabled us to get everything to a point where we can just record the drums and come in here and it sounds huge and amazing, and then give Akel the recordings of the drums for him to go into the studio next door, and he hasn't got to touch them. He hasn't had to touch the EQ, hasn't had to do anything. It's just, there's the drums, mate. That's amazing.
Maybe there's an angle where we do the whole song on this one and then just drop in the mega riffs with like an even deeper snare, like drop the silver one down like another tone. So most of the song is dun, and then the riff goes like drop it down like fifth or something. So it's like.
You're saying do everything with that, and then try some variations with that.
I feel like that's going to be more suitable to the whole song.
The ghost notes,
the articulation. Immediately the ghost notes were speaking, like that's such a big part of the
They were lost on that thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
Head or drum or
Ghost notes are like such a big part of the Tesseract thing,
blending into one.
and it was just like a mushy mush, and really not serving your playing. So I think I'd lose a bit of power to gain ghost notes that sound brilliant. I'd lose power.
No, more ghosts.
For most of the album, it was a DW stainless steel snare, but we threw in the DW maple snare for a couple of sections. We threw the brass snare in for a couple of sections, And we changed the tuning for every song. So before, this is something I haven't done before, but realising what note it is you're listening for in the snare to isolate for the tuning of the song. So we kind of identified how to do that and got that locked in each time. There's just little things that we've never done before that I found fun.
Too many snares, all the snares. Both are good. Brain just got slow, which I prefer.
The overall picture of the song and the overall character is going to come from everything except these sections. So the Ghost Note verses, they are there to build, there to take you to the next part of the song rather than be the song.
Voiceless, mellow, powerless, diminishing with every step. My throat was so raw with every unanswered call, and eventually I just stopped asking. Eventually I stopped being voiceless.
We were having a bit of a jokey argument either yesterday or today between myself and Pete. He was trying something wild and just cutting stuff out and throwing stuff around. And I was saying, that's not Tesseract. And he goes, precisely, this is Tesseract at the best that it can be from an external point of view. There's definitely a strength in modern editing with some parts if you want to really produce something that is about a final big picture, as opposed to narrowing down and saying, no, well, this is how I as a musician would do this. It can definitely be tough to take that ego armor, put it to one side and go, all right, I'm going to do the best thing from the viewpoint of the producer in this one. Narrative that's running alongside the songs. It's like a modern, near-future, neo-noir. It isn't science fiction, but it isn't fantasy, and it just explores metaphor and allegorical story. So a adult fairy tale without the sexy bits.
Some of these songs are actually 3 or 4 years old. Some are less than a year. Lyrically, conceptually, we didn't actually have the ideas that we have now when I started writing a lot of this stuff. But it's been... just feels like a coincidence that a lot of the lyrics for some of the older songs have slotted into the concept so perfectly with minimal tweaks.
The concept is something like I really, really understand, because I feel like I've lived this world that is, been pinned behind us on the wall, and so I've kind of gone into it from that place. And Dan has got, he came to the session with full lyrics for all the songs, and it's just been my job, I think, to kind of help him sort of merge his world and his lyrical ideas with the concept, and also like finding new ways to say things, finding fresh ways to say things, and maybe coming at things from just a different perspective.
I feel like I've been a little bit guilty of writing stuff that is sometimes too abstract at times or just too literal. And it's nice to have actually had a concept in mind and actually mould the songs into a concept. Having that idea in my head and refining the lyrics to fit that has been really cool. Whereas in the past I would just write songs based on an event or an emotion or something personal that's happened in my own life. Whereas this time around, I'm not only doing that to a degree, because there's always going to be that personal element to the lyrics that I write, and I do relate to them in my own way, but actually having the concept has tied them all together in a way that I never realised could be so impactful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Now you do have the option if you wanted it. If you wanted it to be more choir, I could get tons of singers to do that remotely and send us stems.
I like the fact
Would you
it's
like-
just me and you.
Just me and you. Okay, cool.
It sounds brilliant.
I love it, but yeah, it
We've got
depends on
such
what.
a,
And
such
it's
a
not
similar
like a
tone.
big-
We're very
We're
kind of
locked
like
in.
on it, locked in. It's so cool.
Yeah, sounds nice, and it's also message-wise. It doesn't. I don't think it needs a big like.
Not a big vibe.
Yeah.
And I
Okay,
think
cool.
concept-wise, it's just perfect of having me and you doing that.
Yeah. The male-female. Oh, the XL duality balance. Yeah, that's great.
My name is Randy Slaw. I'm a producer, composer, work with a lot of artists like Periphery, Architects, Devin Townsend, Sleeping with Sirens. Working with Tesseract was awesome. This is my second time working with them. I did a little bit of work on Sonder, and this was kind of more of an involved process. Yeah, Ackle and I worked a lot remotely, mostly just kind of back and forth over Dropbox and email, file sharing, session sharing. We both use Cubase, which made it nice. There's a lot of parts where Ackle is a very hands-on producer, so a lot of the tracks were already very sonically dense. So it was kind of case by case, just finding out what song needed what, and some of them, were pretty full. Just needed a couple little textural things. Some of them we went full on with, synths, key parts, etc. Some of the demos sounded like Sigur Rós. Some sounded like Nine Inch Nails. We had some stuff that sounded like Linkin Park even, and just kind of like refining it, chopping stuff, and just seeing what would end up fitting and making sense for the vision of this new album. as someone who's been following their career since Concealing Fate, I would honestly say this is some of their best work of their career.
I started, so I've got to finish now. This is like more. I'm desperate to finish this more than the record.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, you've got your work cut out. You've got like, you know, was it 2 days now? Okay.
All you need is instant gratification. You desire nothing more. Kill the weak, then crawl back into the darkness. Settle down and start your living life a monochrome. I'm the grey upon the sea. So entangled up in
It's been fun working with Pete, just for a breath of fresh air. He's brought a lot of new ideas to the table, which I'm trying to, like Sirens. He's done a lot of like percussive and synth ideas that I wouldn't have thought of.
Sick.
Jazz.
So it's been really wonderful to just drop ourselves in it and enjoy it to such a degree that regardless of how the day is going, we've been grateful for what we've been doing.
It is time to go. 3 weeks of tracking drums and is it 3 weeks to the day even? Or 4 weeks to the day? I don't even know. I've lost all track of time. Which is odd because it's my only job, which is to keep track of time. But no, it's been sick. It's been so good. Drums sound amazing. I played brilliantly, obviously. And my reward for all my hard work is to pack down a drum kit.
I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to do it the way that we've done it, so I now know what to expect going into this kind of environment in the future.
I feel like it's been good to shake up the process, absolutely. I feel like we do have a certain way of doing things, and I think it's good to change the process, because by doing that you're ultimately going to change the outcome, and I feel like we're onto something very, very strong with this album.
But just seeing how everybody was developing like a new personality on this record musically, it's certainly taken us to some really strange places, and we're really excited to get to the end result eventually, because it's definitely wouldn't have been possible without this scenario.
We've been playing festivals all around Europe this past 3-4 weeks, playing to a lot of metal crowds, playing to new people, but I've been so looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. Out with the old, in with the new.